Throne of Glass fans, Furious of Fairyloot, a renowned book subscription company specializing in fantasy literature, recently unveiled their exclusive special edition covers for the beloved Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas. The reception has been far from positive. We'll break down the reasons why ACOTAR fans are upset and if it's just an overreaction or is it actually warranted. Fans have noticed some artwork inaccuracies, specifically the brown stag should be white. Fans are annoyed because you have to pay $200 plus shipping to think they would be accurate in their artwork.
Me personally, I don't understand people's frustration, especially with the artwork inaccuracies, especially if, you're going to be spending that much money. However, I think the actual design I think is really pretty. I think they've gone for this kind of vintage fairy tale look. And back in the early days when Throne of Glass, the first few Throne of Glass books were being released, it was often described as a loose retelling of Cinderella. As the series went on, it got farther from that. People don't really describe it as that anymore, but I think that was the vibe or the inspiration behind these. And I do think they're quite pretty. Michelle, you haven't read this series, but as an outside observer, what do you think of this criticism and do you think it's valid?
In the world of social media, if somebody doesn't like something, people are going to be super, super vocal about it. But if you don't like it, just don't buy it. You're seeing people saying, this is so inaccurate. Genuinely could be other people out there, and there probably is, that aren't really people who are going to be commenting, but genuinely really, really like it. And you are allowed to still criticize, but you have to do it in a respectful manner. Didn't Sarah J. Maas approve these designs?
They did say, and the artists have said that it was approved. We're about to get to the artist response and what that Sarah's team and Bloomsbury, who are the publisher of Throne of Glass, did approve of these designs.
I think there's valid criticism, but also I don't think we need to be completely shitting over the design and the business.
So speaking of, being respectful to the company and the artists have responded. Unfortunately, some fans have crossed the line, resulting in harassment directed at the artists. Here are their respective statements. So my art is not welcome anymore, and I'm not welcome either. Get hate over minor details. From this day on, I won't be sharing any SJM art ever. It seems I failed miserably and I feel sorry for this.
The more popular something is, you are going to get more hate comments. That's the same with my business. The bigger your business gets, or the bigger you become, more people don't see you as necessarily a human being. You're just a business or an artist that doesn't have feelings. Clearly she does. She's very upset.
I went through her Instagram after I read this and I looked at her other art and she's extremely
so talented.
So talented. Also very easy to criticize when you're behind a computer screen. And
absolutely.
There's no repercussions.
This wouldn't be a problem if the price was cheaper. Most people will find this price point very expensive. That's why you've got the likes of Amazon. They're for the mass market and they're cheap. If you're going to freaking charge 400 Australian dollars, essentially is what it is, 200 USD, you better get shit right. You better get the stuff right.
So the fans have reacted to these statements. So some fans have rallied behind the artists, recognizing that the illustrations should not bear the blame for inaccuracies. Instead, they point fingers at Fairyloot, the publishing house, and the author's team. Other passionate supporters call out those who harass the artists, urging them to reflect and consider a more empathetic approach. Some argue that the criticism wasn't harassment, rather it sought justification. They encourage the artists to take a break from social media and focus on other activities, stating valid criticism is essential for growth and learning.
I know people are saying that criticism is allowed. Absolutely, it's allowed. But you can't say that all those comments weren't done in a respectful manner.
Yeah, I definitely some very mean comments. With fandoms, it can definitely get very toxic with people, direct messaging the artists.
And come on, if you are an artist and a whole bunch of people is crapping on your work, regardless if it's respectful or not, that's going to hit you so hard.
Now, you're probably wondering, where has Fairyloot been during all of this? Well, they've since broken their silence on addressing the harassment of the artists. They've also stated, heard your concerns about the Throne of Glass exclusive editions and we'll be in touch soon with updates. It's looking like they are perhaps working on making some changes to the artwork. Michelle, what do you think of all this as a business owner?
If they haven't started printing them, they will probably take this criticism on board and work with the artists to potentially change the stag to white. And if it was me, I would probably probably do that too. I think Fairy Loot has put that price point quite high that people are going to nitpick and not going to be happy with false things if you're selling it at that price. So again, I understand from the customer's point of view, they make those changes and people still complain, then it's purely that people are annoyed about the price point. Is when you're going to do these special editions, why don't you email the newsletter and go, these are some ideas we have for a special edition. Give us your feedback. Fill out this quiz feedback form. Let us know what you think. And then that way, when they do release something like this, there's not going to be as much backlash because you've actually gotten the fans involved in helping do the artwork and do all that. And I think that'll add a lot more engagement. And Fairy Loot can only grow from this as a business. Businesses aren't perfect. If you're going to put something at that price point, make sure you know what the fans actually want. My name is Michelle.
I'm Samantha.
And this is Book Clubbers, keeping you updated on the latest books, book news, adaptations, topics, and drama.